I've been a student most of my life, so I know your schedules are not simple.
For decades, Bill Gaither and his wife Gloria have been the face of Christian music, presenting a united front that has inspired millions around the world. Their bond seemed unshakable, both professionally and personally. But when the divorce rumors began circulating, the world was thrown into chaos. What caused this? Why did Gloria, typically a private person, suddenly break her silence and reveal things no one expected? For years, they were seen as the epitome of faith, love, and partnership. But now, Gloria's bombshell statements have left everyone rethinking everything. It all started with a shift, a small crack in the surface that eventually widened into a chasm. As the months of silence between Bill and Gloria lengthened, whispers turned into wild speculations. The once adored couple, known for their powerful duets and spiritual messages, now stood at the center of a growing storm of controversy. The music industry and millions of their fans waited anxiously as rumors spread about their private lives. Speculation about a failed marriage and divorce became the latest hot topic, dominating headlines. But it wasn't until Gloria Gaither finally spoke out that the truth started to reveal itself. Her words were sharp, candid, and full of emotional weight. She spoke about the immense challenges of living under the public microscope, detailing personal struggles and the moments of emotional turmoil that led to the unraveling of a once blissful marriage. As the world listened, they couldn't help but wonder, what happened to this golden couple of Christian music? Through Gloria's unexpected confession, she began to pull back the curtain on the couple's life together. The glossy facade of the smiling, hand-in-hand duo began to crack. Was their love story too idealized? Was the pressure of constant public scrutiny the real catalyst for their breakdown? What was the truth behind their separation? And why did Gloria wait until now to reveal her side of the story? One thing was clear: this wasn't just a celebrity breakup. It was a deeply personal and heart-wrenching chapter in a journey that spanned decades of shared history, music, and ministry. Bill and Gloria Gaither built an empire together, not just in the music world, but in the Christian community as well. Their songwriting, performances, and shared faith touched lives across generations. For years, their partnership seemed unbreakable, marked by mutual respect, love, and admiration. Yet, in the wake of their divorce, it's clear that this partnership was far more complex than anyone ever realized. What went wrong? How did they go from being the ultimate power couple to two individuals living separate lives? Gloria's revelation hinted at deeper issues, problems that had been simmering beneath the surface for far longer than anyone knew. Behind the sweet harmonies and onstage chemistry, the pressures of their public lives began to take their toll. In her candid interview, Gloria discussed the exhaustion that came with balancing a marriage, family, and a career that demanded constant attention. What started as a mutual journey of faith and love slowly became a struggle for both of them. The demands of their ministry and the public's expectations began to erode the foundation of their marriage. They were often separated by work, and though they were constantly in the public eye, they rarely had the time to nurture their relationship in private. The turning point came when Bill's health started to decline. The once robust, energetic figure in Christian music became more reclusive, retreating into his personal struggles. Gloria, ever the supportive partner, found herself carrying the weight of not just their musical legacy, but their personal relationship. The strain took its toll, and over time, they both became distant, both emotionally and physically. Gloria spoke of moments when she felt more like a caregiver than a wife. The cracks that had been invisible to the public eye finally became impossible to ignore. Bill and Gloria were no longer the couple that captivated the world with their songs of faith. They were two people struggling to connect. Their divorce wasn't a dramatic confrontation, nor was it caused by infidelity or betrayal. Instead, it was the culmination of years of slow and steady unraveling. Gloria shared that they both grew apart in different ways, and despite the love they still had for each other, their marriage could no longer withstand the years of emotional neglect. The decision to part ways wasn't made out of spite, but out of a deep understanding that their paths had diverged and their futures no longer aligned. Living life under the constant scrutiny of the public eye is something few people truly understand. Bill and Gloria Gaither were no exception. As icons in the Christian music world, they were constantly in the spotlight. Whether they were performing at sold-out concerts or delivering speeches at faith-based events, their every move was scrutinized. But while many couples might have found strength in their shared fame, for Bill and Gloria, it became a source of tension. Gloria revealed that the fame they once cherished eventually became a burden. The pressure of maintaining a public image while dealing with private struggles created a disconnect that neither of them had anticipated. They were expected to be perfect, both in their marriage and in their ministry. The public's expectations of them as a flawless couple only served to magnify the cracks in their relationship. Gloria explained that there were moments when she wished they could just be ordinary people, without the constant pressure to appear flawless. Their public life also took a toll on their personal space. Bill, known for his charismatic stage presence, often retreated into himself when they weren't performing. The demands of their ministry meant that they were rarely alone together, constantly surrounded by fans, staff, and fellow musicians. Gloria spoke of the loneliness she felt, despite being in a marriage that appeared to be filled with love and success. The emotional toll of this loneliness became too much to bear, and the public's constant expectations pushed them further apart. Gloria's story revealed the inner turmoil that comes with being in a relationship that's constantly on display. The stress of trying to live up to the world's expectations while managing personal struggles was something neither of them had prepared for. Their marriage became more of a performance than a partnership, and eventually it became impossible to keep up the act. By the time Bill and Gloria made the heart-wrenching decision to divorce, their marriage had been on life support for years. Gloria admitted that their relationship was filled with moments of profound love, but it was also marked by years of emotional distance. The final decision wasn't made impulsively. It was a gradual realization that they could no longer continue living a lie. Their bond, which had once been unshakable, was now fractured beyond repair. Bill's health, which had been a constant concern, played a significant role in the breakdown of their marriage. Gloria explained that she found herself taking on more responsibilities than ever before, and as a result, the emotional distance between them grew. The person she once shared everything with became increasingly distant, both physically and emotionally. It wasn't just the loss of intimacy, but the loss of connection that ultimately pushed them apart. For Gloria, the decision to divorce was not about betrayal or hatred. It was about the realization that they both needed different things in life. She spoke of the pain that came with accepting that their marriage was no longer serving either of them. The couple had grown apart, and though they still cared for each other deeply, they could no longer be the partners they once were. Gloria described the emotional journey of finally accepting that divorce was the only way forward, despite the years of shared history. As the divorce was finalized, Gloria reflected on the profound impact their relationship had on her. She spoke about the love they once shared, but acknowledged that it was time for both of them to move on and pursue their own paths. The divorce wasn't a sign of failure. It was an opportunity for both Bill and Gloria to rebuild their lives, separately but still with mutual respect and love. Life after the breakup. How Gloria is redefining her future. In the aftermath of her divorce from Bill, Gloria Gaither has begun to redefine herself. She's no longer just the wife of a famous musician. She is an individual with her own dreams, ambitions, and passions. Gloria's story is one of personal reinvention, moving forward with confidence and strength after years of being in the shadow of her public persona. The divorce, while painful, has opened up new opportunities for her to explore and grow. Gloria shared that she is now focused on rediscovering her own voice. No longer confined to the role of a supporting partner, she is channeling her energy into new projects and initiatives that matter to her personally. She is taking on new challenges, whether in music, community involvement, or philanthropy, and finding fulfillment in ways she never thought possible. The journey of self-discovery has been both liberating and empowering for Gloria. While the world may still view her as part of a famous duo, Gloria is adamant that she is carving out her own path. She reflected on the importance of embracing change and the growth that comes from difficult life transitions. For Gloria, this new chapter is about building a future that is entirely her own, where she can stand confidently as a strong and independent woman. The years spent in the public eye alongside Bill Gaither came with immense pressure, and after their divorce, Gloria found herself in uncharted territory. The spotlight that once shone on them as a couple now seemed distant, and for the first time in years, she was alone. While the public had always adored their dynamic as a musical power couple, the shift in her personal life meant stepping out from behind Bill's shadow and facing the world on her own. Gloria's transformation post-divorce wasn't just about physical space, it was about emotional freedom. For For so long, her identity was tied to her marriage and the public persona of being Bill Gaither's wife. Now Gloria was taking time to rediscover who she was outside of that relationship. She reflected on how her time in the spotlight often made it difficult to focus on her personal growth. Being in the public eye meant constantly conforming to expectations, maintaining a certain image, and living up to others' perceptions of what she should be. But in her solitude, she found the space to breathe, reflect, and start anew. Her time away from the stage has been transformative. Rather than dwelling on the past, Gloria has embraced solitude and the opportunity for introspection. She's begun exploring projects that were previously sidelined and has reconnected with her own creativity. She shared that her passion for music and the ministry had never diminished, but now she could approach it in a way that was uniquely hers. For the first time in years, Gloria is living life on her own terms, making decisions that align with her true self, and forging a path forward that isn't dictated by the expectations of her previous life. Gloria's transformation is not just about reinventing her career. It's also about embracing the idea that she doesn't need a partner to validate her worth. She has learned to value herself for who she is, not just for the roles she has played in the past. This new phase in her life has been one of incredible self-discovery, and it's clear that Gloria is no longer the woman who once defined herself solely by her relationship with Bill. She's a woman finding her power again, this time standing strong on her own. As the world speculated about Bill and Gloria's split, many were left wondering what truly led to the breakdown of their marriage. Behind the closed doors of their home, the couple had always presented a united front, but the reality was far more complex. Gloria's decision to speak out after the divorce has shed light on the inner workings of their relationship, one that was shaped by love, challenges, and compromises that many didn't see coming. According to Gloria, their relationship had always been filled with love and respect. But the demands of their careers and the constant public pressure eventually took its toll. Both Bill and Gloria were incredibly driven individuals, each focused on their own passions and aspirations. As their careers soared, their personal connection began to fray at the edges. The emotional toll of constant travel, the expectations placed on them as a power couple, and the strain of balancing their public image with their private lives all played a role in the unraveling of their marriage. Gloria revealed that, over time, they both began to lose touch with one another. Despite the love they still had for each other, the constant demands of their careers and their ever-growing responsibilities pulled them in different directions. As Bill became more consumed with his music and the ministry, Gloria found herself feeling more isolated and disconnected from him. The emotional distance between them widened, and despite their best efforts to make it work, they couldn't seem to bridge the gap. For Gloria, the decision to divorce was one of clarity. It wasn't born out of anger or betrayal, but rather a realization that they had both changed over the years. The relationship that had once been filled with passion and unity had become strained by the very things that had brought them together in the first place: their ambition, their careers, and their public personas. Gloria made it clear that while their love never fully faded, the reality of their lives had become incompatible. Ending a marriage after decades of shared history and mutual accomplishments is never easy, and for Gloria, the pain of letting go was immense. As she navigated the emotional landscape of divorce, she came to realize that love isn't just about staying together. It's about growth, change, and the willingness to let go when the time comes. Gloria reflected on the years she and Bill spent building a life together, but she also acknowledged that the time had come for both of them to move on. Gloria's heartache wasn't just about the end of a marriage. It was about the loss of a partnership that had been built on years of shared goals and aspirations. She spoke about the bittersweet nature of their divorce, acknowledging that while their love had not been enough to keep them together, it had still played a crucial role in shaping who they were as individuals. The decision to part ways was not easy, and Gloria admitted that it took her a long time to come to terms with the reality of their separation. She shared that there were days when the weight of the decision felt unbearable, but with time, she learned to embrace the idea of moving on. Gloria emphasized the importance of self-care and personal growth in the aftermath of a breakup. For her, the divorce was an opportunity to rediscover herself, to pursue her passions, and to redefine her identity. She acknowledged the emotional pain that came with the divorce, but also spoke about the empowerment that came with taking control of her own life once again. While the pain of loss was real, Gloria expressed gratitude for the time she had spent with Bill and for the lessons they had learned together. She understood that sometimes love means letting go, and through this painful realization, she found the strength to move forward and embrace the next chapter of her life. After the divorce, Gloria Gaither found herself at a crossroads. The world may have viewed her as part of a famous duo, but for the first time in years, she was free to pursue her own path. The decision to step out from behind Bill's shadow was one of empowerment, and Gloria embraced it with open arms. She began to reinvent herself, focusing on projects that were meaningful to her and that aligned with her personal values. Gloria's passion for music and ministry never wavered, but now she could approach it on her own terms. She began writing, composing, and recording music that reflected her own voice and vision. No longer confined to the role of a supportive partner, Gloria embraced the opportunity to explore her creativity in new and exciting ways. Her work took on a new dimension, one that allowed her to express her individuality and to share her journey with the world. But Gloria's reinvention wasn't limited to her career. She also embraced personal development, dedicating time to exploring new interests and hobbies that she had previously put on the back burner. She began focusing on wellness and self-care, prioritizing her own needs for the first time in years. Gloria spoke about the importance of finding balance and happiness within oneself, and how her journey after divorce has allowed her to do just that. For Gloria, the divorce was not the end. It was the beginning of a new and exciting chapter. She's no longer defined by her relationship with Bill, but is instead forging her own identity and pursuing her own dreams. As Gloria navigated her new life after divorce, the public's insatiable curiosity about her personally intensified. Being a public figure for so long, especially as the wife of Bill Gaither, meant that her every move was watched and dissected. Gloria was no stranger to media attention, but now, facing the world as a newly single woman, the spotlight felt even more intense. How would she handle the whispers and speculation that seemed to follow her wherever she went? At first, Gloria found it difficult to shield herself from the public scrutiny. The media was quick to jump to conclusions, interpreting every action, every appearance, as part of a larger narrative. Speculation about her future, her career, and even her emotional state filled tabloids and news outlets. But over time, Gloria learned to embrace the scrutiny in a way that made her feel more empowered rather than diminished. She chose to focus on her own voice and the messages that mattered to her. Gloria continued to speak out about the importance of personal growth and resilience, encouraging others to find their own strength amid adversity. Rather than cower from the attention, she used it as a platform to share her journey. Gloria became a symbol of strength for many, showing the world that life after a major transition, whether it's a divorce, a career shift, or a personal setback, can be a time for empowerment, not weakness. In interviews, she became known for her candidness and composure. Gloria spoke about the lessons she learned from her marriage and her divorce, focusing on themes of self-empowerment and personal growth. By doing so, she was able to take control of the narrative and show the world that she was moving forward on her own terms. Despite the constant public eye, Gloria remained true to herself and her values. Her ability to rise above the noise and continue to pursue her dreams in the face of public speculation and judgment made her an inspiration for many. As the years passed, Gloria began to fully embrace her newfound freedom. Divorce is often seen as a time of loss, but for Gloria, it marked the reclamation of her independence. The path she had walked alongside Bill for so long had shaped who she was, but now it was time for her to define herself in a way that was wholly her own. This personal transformation didn't just affect her career, it affected her entire way of life. No longer bound by the expectations of being part of a famous couple, Gloria rediscovered the things she was passionate about before she ever became a public figure. She poured herself into writing, exploring topics that had always intrigued her but had been overshadowed by her public persona. With time, she found joy in the simplest things, spending time with her family, enjoying moments of quiet reflection, and giving back to the community in new ways. Her passion for music remained at the core of her life, but now she approached it as an independent artist with her own unique vision. Gloria sought out collaborations with other musicians, choosing projects that were meaningful to her, rather than just those that would bolster her public image. Her work took on a deeply personal tone, allowing her to connect with her fans in a way that felt more authentic than ever before. But perhaps the most important aspect of Gloria's journey after divorce was her ability to find inner peace. She worked on healing from the emotional scars of the past, learning to prioritize her own happiness over any external validation. Her focus on wellness, mental, emotional, and physical, became central to her life. She encouraged others, especially women, to take the time to nurture themselves and embrace their own worth. Gloria's journey was a testament to the idea that personal freedom doesn't come from external circumstances, but from within. By embracing this truth, she was able to create a new life for herself, one where she was no longer defined by her past, but was free to carve out her future. As time went on, Gloria Gaither's influence continued to extend far beyond her marriage to Bill. Her work, her message, and her voice have resonated with audiences across the world, not just as a former member of a famous musical duo, but as a woman who has persevered through adversity and come out stronger on the other side. Gloria's legacy has been rewritten, not by the events of her past, but by her ability to create a future that is uniquely hers. Her story of resilience, transformation, and empowerment has inspired countless individuals who have faced their own personal challenges. Through her music, her writings, and her public speaking, Gloria has shown that success isn't measured by the number of years spent in a relationship or the status of a marriage. It's measured by the strength to move forward, to redefine oneself, and to continue pursuing one's passions. Gloria's message to the world is clear. It's never too late to start over, to embrace change, and to reclaim your personal power. The divorce that many saw as a devastating end became the catalyst for a new beginning. Gloria now stands as a symbol of what it means to persevere in the face of hardship and to take control of your own destiny. As Gloria continues to build on her legacy, she is not just remembered as Bill Gaither's wife, but as a trailblazer in her own right, a woman who has defined herself through her strength, creativity, and resilience. Her journey serves as a powerful reminder that no matter what life throws your way, you can always rise again, stronger and more determined than before. As Gloria Gaither moves forward into this new chapter of her life, her story serves as an inspiration to anyone who feels like they've been lost in the shadows of others. Divorce isn't the end. It's a chance to rebuild, to grow, and to become the person you were always meant to be. If Gloria can do it, so can you. Thank you for watching this deep dive into Gloria Gaither's powerful journey. What do you think about her transformation post-divorce? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that delves into the lives of those who have overcome adversity and created something new. And remember, change is never the end. It's the beginning of something great. Stay tuned for more updates.
I think the thing that brings people together, regardless of the style of the music, is spirit.
For decades, an Alexandria, Indiana estate held Bill Gaither's darkest secrets. When the gospel music legend relocated in 2019, his home studio was immediately examined, every recording, contract, and personal journal scrutinized for over 2 years. In 2021, they finally released their findings, and what they discovered inside left everyone stunned. From controversial business practices to shocking financial arrangements that exploited young artists, this is the story of what really happened behind the scenes of gospel music's most powerful empire. Bill Gaither was born on March 28, 1936, in Alexandria, Indiana. When he was born, his family lived modestly with deep roots in their small farming community. From the very start, he seemed destined for a life of music. His father was a farmer who loved to sing, and young Bill grew up surrounded by the harmonies of church hymns and gospel quartets. At just 11 years old, he formed his first singing group with his sister Mary Ann and brother Danny. His parents encouraged this early passion, never imagining it would grow into a gospel music dynasty that would transform the industry. His early years were shaped by the rural Indiana environment. Unlike many music moguls who studied at prestigious conservatories, Gaither earned an English degree from Anderson College, now Anderson University, and began teaching high school English after graduation. Music remained his passion, but he saw it as a calling rather than a career path. He wrote songs in his spare time, never expecting they would one day make him millions and change gospel music forever. In 1962, Gaither's life changed dramatically when he married Gloria Sickall, a fellow teacher. Gloria wasn't just a wife, she became his primary songwriting partner, and together, they created some of gospel music's most enduring classics. Their song, "He Touched Me," became a phenomenon when Elvis Presley recorded it in 1971, introducing the Gaithers' music to a mainstream audience and launching their songwriting career into new territory. But behind the wholesome image of a husband-wife songwriting team, documents found in Gaither's estate revealed a complex business arrangement. While Gloria contributed significantly to their most successful songs, financial records showed an uneven distribution of songwriting royalties, with Bill's publishing company controlling over 85% of the rights to their collaborative works. This arrangement generated millions for Gaither personally, while Gloria received a much smaller percentage, as what internal memos described as a spousal allowance. The Gaither trio, formed with Bill's sister Mary Ann and brother Danny, was the first public manifestation of what would become the Gaither musical empire. When Mary Ann left to raise a family, Gloria stepped in, and the trio continued touring churches across America. Their humble performances in small venues built a devoted following, but little suggested the massive enterprise that would follow. By the mid-1980s, Gaither had established himself as a powerful figure in gospel music, with a catalog of over 500 songs and a successful recording career. However, his most transformative business venture began in 1991 with a casual gathering of gospel music legends at his recording studio. This impromptu reunion was filmed, and the resulting video, Homecoming, launched what would become a cultural phenomenon. Financial ledgers discovered in Gaither's estate revealed the staggering success of the Homecoming series. What began as a simple video project grew into a multi-million-dollar enterprise, with annual revenues exceeding $75 million at its peak. The series ultimately included over 100 videos, constantly introducing new artists while featuring elderly gospel legends whose careers had been forgotten by the mainstream. While publicly presented as a ministry to honor gospel music's pioneers, internal communications painted a different picture. Memos between Gaither and his business team discussed the Homecoming artists primarily as assets and brand extensions. One particularly troubling document outlined a strategy to feature aging artists prominently in marketing materials while minimizing their compensation, noting that nostalgic appeal drives sales, not actual performance time. Former employees who worked on the Homecoming productions revealed that many of the elderly artists featured were paid a flat fee of just $1,500 to $2,500 per video, regardless of how heavily they were featured in promotion or final cuts. Meanwhile, financial records showed the videos regularly grossed between $4 to $8 million each. When one veteran gospel singer's family requested higher compensation due to his prominent role in marketing, an internal email advised to feature him less in the next release, but keep using his image in promotional materials. The Gaither vocal band, formed in 1981, became a centerpiece of Bill's growing empire. Over the years, the group featured a rotating cast of talented singers, many of whom went on to successful solo careers. However, contracts found in Gaither's estate revealed restrictive clauses that gave Gaither's companies overwhelming control over these artists' careers, even after they left the group. These contracts, which legal experts who reviewed them described as extraordinarily one-sided, included provisions that entitled Gaither to percentages of former members' solo earnings for up to 7 years after their departure, restrictions on what songs they could perform, and approval rights over their independent projects. One former member's contract included a non-disparagement clause with penalties so severe that, as one memo put it, he would lose his house if he ever tells the real story. Perhaps most disturbing were the financial arrangements with younger artists who joined the Gaither Homecoming tours. Promising performers were offered exposure and association with the prestigious Gaither brand, but contract terms were heavily weighted in favor of Gaither's companies. One document outlined a strategy to sign artists to development deals that granted Gaither's companies up to 50% of all revenue streams, including merchandise, ticket sales, and even church love offerings, while placing all production costs on the artists themselves. An internal accounting spreadsheet showed that several artists who appeared regularly on Homecoming videos and tours were actually losing money after expenses, while Gaither's companies profited from their performances. When one young family group questioned the arrangement, an executive responded in an email, "Remind them that exposure on our platform is worth more than money. They can't afford to walk away." The Gaither Music Group expanded into a diverse conglomerate of companies handling everything from publishing and recording to video production, concert promotion, and merchandise. This vertical integration allowed unprecedented control over the gospel music industry. As one internal strategy document boasted, "We control the entire ecosystem from songwriting to fan purchase." This control extended to retail distribution. When some Christian bookstores attempted to negotiate better terms with Gaither's distribution company, internal communications revealed a coordinated strategy to threaten these stores with losing access to Gaither products, which accounted for as much as 30% of music sales for many Christian retailers. "They need us more than we need any individual store," one executive wrote. "Make an example of anyone who pushes back." Gaither's public image as a humble servant of the gospel message contrasted sharply with the business operations revealed in his private documents. While preaching servant leadership and Christian values from the stage, his companies employed sophisticated tactics to maximize profits that many in the business community would consider aggressive, even in secular contexts. The investigation also uncovered evidence of systemic manipulation of the Christian music charts. Detailed spreadsheets showed investments in strategic product placement at key retailers whose sales were monitored for chart positions. One particularly explicit memo instructed staff to coordinate bulk purchases of new releases from reporting stores, with the purchased products later redistributed through non-reporting channels, creating the appearance of higher sales. While never explicitly acknowledged in public, Gaither's political influence was also well documented in his private papers. Correspondence with conservative political figures revealed substantial financial contributions and strategic use of his platform to support specific candidates. One particularly concerning document outlined plans to use homecoming gatherings to harvest voter data while maintaining the event's non-political appearance. Personal journals found in Gaither's estate revealed a man conflicted about the empire he had built. In private reflections, he occasionally questioned whether the business had overtaken the ministry. "Have we gone too far from where we started?" he wrote in one entry from 2012. "The machine keeps growing and demanding to be fed, but I sometimes wonder if the message is getting lost in the business of it all." Other journal entries suggested Gaither was well aware of how his public image differed from his business practices. "People see the smiling face on stage and assume everything we do matches that simplicity," he wrote. "If they knew how complex and cutthroat this business has become, even in Christian music, they'd be shocked. Sometimes I'm shocked myself." Despite these private doubts, the Gaither empire continued to expand throughout the 2000s and 2010s. Financial statements found in his records showed diversification into real estate, with significant investments in commercial properties across multiple states, often purchased through shell companies that obscured their connection to Gaither. These investments generated millions in additional revenue that was never associated with his public music ministry. The most personal revelations came from Gaither's private correspondence with fellow gospel music executives. In these unguarded exchanges, he sometimes disparaged the very audiences who supported his empire. After one particularly successful homecoming cruise, he wrote to a colleague, "These people will buy anything with our name on it. Sometimes I think we could sell empty boxes and they'd display them proudly in their homes." In response to the findings, the Gaither organization issued a statement emphasizing Bill's contributions to gospel music and charitable giving, while dismissing the revelations as selective interpretations of complex business matters taken out of context. The statement highlighted the many artists whose careers benefited from association with the Gaither brand, and the millions of people touched by the ministry aspect of their work. Many artists who built successful careers through association with Gaither have remained supportive, focusing on the platform and exposure his empire provided them. Others, speaking on condition of anonymity, confirmed that the business practices revealed in the investigation matched their experiences, but admitted they felt unable to speak publicly due to contractual restrictions or fear of industry backlash. Gospel music historians remain divided on Gaither's legacy. While none can deny his musical contributions and the revival of interest in gospel music that the Homecoming series created, the revelations about his business empire have forced a re-evaluation. As one historian put it, Gaither brought gospel music to its largest audience ever, but at what cost to its soul? Bill Gaither, now in his mid-80s, continues to make occasional appearances at Gaither events, though day-to-day operations have transitioned to a management team. The Gaither Music Group remains one of Christian music's most powerful entities, though its influence has diminished somewhat in the streaming era as independent artists have found new paths to reach audiences without traditional power brokers. For gospel music fans who grew up watching Homecoming videos in their living rooms, the revelations from Gaither's estate have been difficult to reconcile with the grandfatherly figure who led countless audiences in hymn sings. The man who helped preserve the legacy of gospel music pioneers now has a complicated legacy of his own, one that includes both undeniable musical contributions and troubling business practices. The contents of his estate, now thoroughly examined, tell the story of a visionary who built a gospel music empire by commodifying the very tradition he claimed to preserve. As one former associate summarized, Bill genuinely loves gospel music. The tragedy is that he loved building his empire even more.